we doing tonight? Guys, we're gonna have to be louder than that if we're gonna scare off the monsters tonight. I asked, how are we doing tonight? Better, better. Make some noise if you are excited to go to the House of Torment. Okay, and then if you're just hanging with us at Inside Out, make some noise if you're excited to not be scared to death tonight. Anyone? Just here at Inside Out. Cool, 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 cool. Just me. Awesome. All right, well, tonight we've got a lot of fun planned for y'all. When y'all walked in, you should have gotten a raffle ticket at your door or on the way in. As you can see, we've got 6 different raffle prizes here tonight. So you have 6 chances of taking home something great with you. After that, I'm going to give y'all a quick announcement about House of Torment tonight, and then Matt Keeney will be up for our one-off series tonight. So to get it started, I'm going to need everyone on your feet. Here we go. It's time for the raffle. All right, if I do not call your number, you will take a seat. Alrighty, here we go. First one, we've got 2, 4, 2, 6, 8, 8. Last number, 1. Wow, come on up, Colby. Okay, Colby, here's what you're gonna do. You are going to take the tissue paper off of one of these 6 prizes, and you'll get to take whatever is in there with you. Take off the tissue paper, grab the prize. No. I'll take it. I can't believe you won. All right, here we go. What's inside? Oh, a jar of pickles! Yes! Congrats, Colby. You're a big winner today. Alrighty, guys, good news is we've got 5 more things to raffle off. Go ahead and stand up again. Here we go. Colby, I hope you like pickles. All right, here we go. First number is 5, 3, 6, 5, 2. Last number is 5. Yes, you won? Yes, come on up. And what is your name? Maddie. Maddie's a winner. She's gonna take the tissue paper off. Let's see what she got. Any of the ones that are left. Oh yes, this is good. Here we go. Oh, show everyone what you got. Wow, it's a rainbow unicorn blanket. Yes! Make some noise for Maddie. Here we go. Alrighty, we've got 4 more. Y'all go ahead and stand up again. Getting a good little workout in here. Here we go. Let me pick from the bottom this time. All right, 2, 4, 2, 6, 9, 0. Last number is 0. Anyone? Anyone? You! Yes! Congrats. What is your name?
Olivia.
Olivia. All right, Olivia, you got 4 prizes to pick from. Take the tissue paper off. You get whatever is inside. That one already was picked. There you go. Yeah. Sorry about that. Ooh, some cookies. Yes! Oh, perfect. Thanks. Alrighty, folks. We've got just a few more. Here we go. If you haven't won, maybe this is your time. Here we go. Y'all go ahead and stand up again. Here we go. All right, 3. Switch it up. 2, 5, 5, 1. Last number. Here we go. We've got a 9. That's my lucky number. Yes! Woo! Congrats to you. And what is your name?
Maggie.
Maggie. All right, let's see what Maggie picks. Maggie, you've got 3 options. These 2 or that one over there. All right, go ahead, take the paper off. This one's kind of stuffed in there, I think. Yep, there you go. Show everyone what you got. It's stuck. She's got Prime. There's 4 of them in here. Drink of choice. Congrats. Congrats to you. Here you go. All 4 of those are yours. All right, here we go. Sure you like pickles, Colby. Pickles are good. All right, last 2 prizes we are raffling off. Stand up. Here we go. All right. Here we go. Here we go. First number is a 2. Bummer. 4, 2, 6, 8, 7. Last number, 5. Anyone? Anyone? Did you win? Oh, she didn't win. Okay, I'll repeat the number. 242 6875. All right, go ahead and stand up. We're gonna do it again. Here we go. Yep. First number is a 5, 3, 6, 3, 9. Last number, 3. Any winners? Yes. All right, and what is your name?
Jeanette.
Jeanette. Okay, Jeanette, you can pick from this one or this one. It's totally up to you. Here we go. She's picked quickly. Ooh, what is in there? Ah, an InsideOut hat. Yes, some free merch for you. Congrats, Jeanette. All right, last but certainly not least, I do know what's inside of here, and I do think it's the best one we have. So y'all go ahead and stand up. Here we go. All right. Y'all are too cool to stand or what? Yeah, there you go. All right, here we go. First number is a 5, 3, 6, 5, 2. Last number is my lucky number, 9. Anyone? Did you win? Yes! Come on up. The last and definitely the best. Here we go. Come on up. Alrighty, folks. Let's see what it is. And what is your name?
Sophia.
Sophia. All right, Sophia, here you go. Last and final prize. What do we think it is? A Chick-fil-A gift card in honor of Chick-fil-A on Sundays. Congrats to you, Sophia. Sure. You can go ahead and take a seat. Alrighty, y'all. The fun is not over tonight because tonight we are headed to the House of Tournament, but I have to give y'all a few quick details about what's to come. In just a second, Matt Keeney's gonna come up on stage for our message tonight, and then you will head to small groups. You're gonna hang out with your small group, come up with a plan on how you're gonna fight the monsters tonight, and then once we release to go to House of Torment, you will be on buses by your grade. So bus 1 is seniors, bus 2 is juniors, bus 3 is sophomores, bus 4 is freshmen. Before you get on the bus, your leaders on your bus are going to have a sheet of paper with a QR code. You are going to need your phone to scan the QR code, type your name in, and check into your bus. This is to make sure we have all of y'all with us and we bring all of y'all back with us. So if you don't have a phone, you can borrow a friend's phone. It is no big deal at all, but you must scan the QR code before you get on the bus. Capiche? Kaposh, amazing. All right, all that being said, Matt Keeney is going to be up for our one-off series. Y'all check it out.
1, 2, check 1, 2. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Sweet, y'all can hear me? Sweet, I can't even hear myself. That's good. Hey, it is good to be with you guys today for House of Torment Day. Y'all excited? Y'all ready to go? How many of you guys are just absolutely terrified of what's about to happen? I would put my hand up there as well for all the things. But if this is your first time at Inside Out tonight, I just want to say a huge welcome to all of you guys being here tonight. I'm so grateful that you guys chose to be here on a Sunday afternoon. Who knew that winter was going to start today? Anybody like cold weather? Yeah, okay. See, I'm loving it right now. I like the cold weather as well. But since we're going to House of Torment tonight, it felt only right to ask the question to kind of start our one-off series tonight. We're going to have a real series next week, so make sure you guys come back. But we have a one-off series tonight. I just have a question for you guys, and I want you guys to be thinking about it. When you think about this question, I want you to really think about not just the irrational type of things, but the real things that you would relate to with this question. What are you guys afraid of? When you think about that, what are you afraid of? Like I said, there are things where it feels irrational. It feels like, okay, there are things where it's like spiders. I feel like most of us are afraid of that. But then there are just some real common core fears that all of us have. I asked my best friend, ChatGPT, earlier this week, what were some of the most common fears? And this is what ChatGPT said. This is what it said right up here. Let's get that picture up. Okay, the first one is hippopotamus, I don't even know how to say that, phobia, the fear of long words. Okay, I don't know if you guys have ever experienced that. For some of you guys, you might have the fear of beautiful women. I don't know. Fear of paper, fear of clowns. Phobophobia is the fear of having a phobia. So if you're scared of anything, that's a fear in and of itself, right? The fear of being without your mobile phone or being able to use it for a while. I feel like some of you guys may have that fear, right? But those might be some of the fears. If you guys have never used ChatGPT before, use it for fun. Don't use it for school. It's not going to help you too much. But here's what's so important. Y'all bring it up. Here's what's so important. What's interesting about fear is, according to scientists, according to research, there's actually only two fears that you and I are born with. It's the fear of falling, and it's the fear of loud noises. Meaning every other fear that we have in our life, whether that's irrational or whether it's a real, deep, genuine fear, everything has been acquired or learned throughout our life. Meaning somewhere along the way, we've developed a fear of something. And that's interesting, and that's important for our conversation tonight. Now, a lot of times we get this misconception about fear, that fear is only bad, like fear is just a bad thing. And it's true that fear can sometimes be bad, but fear can also be a good thing. If we just were to reframe fear for just a second, fear can actually be a good thing. Fear can prevent you from harmful situations in your life. If you're afraid to go to a place, if you're afraid to be around a certain person, if you're just afraid of a situation, or you have this unease, and you're just in a place, fear can actually prevent you from you harming yourself or you harming other people. But then there are actually fears that harm us. There are fears that can harm us, and it's the fears of those types of fears. That's kind of what I want to talk about tonight. When we look at high school and when we think about the 4 years of high school, there's actually three common fears that all of us experience at one point or another through our 4 years of high school. And maybe for some of these fears, they've been really loud in your life. Or maybe for some of you guys, maybe you haven't experienced yet, but just coming from me, or maybe if you talk to somebody older than you, we can experience these fears on a day-to-day basis. The three most common fears that we experience in high school, the first one is the fear of rejection. We kind of talked about this over the last couple of weeks, but really at a core level, most of us, we just want to be accepted. We want to be approved. We want to be valued. We want to be seen. We want to be noticed. And so a lot of times in high school, some of our worst fears is actually being rejected by somebody else, by being pushed away by somebody else, by being told no, right? Those things in our life could actually create this common fear of the fear of rejection. The second one is the fear of failure, right? A lot of us in life, if we feel like we're off in any part of our life, if somebody sees us and somebody notices us and it feels like, man, it feels like you're not as good as somebody else, it feels like we're failing, right? Whether that's failing at school or failing in sports or failing just in general in life, that's not something that we set out to do. I don't know any person who's like, you know what I want to do? I want to fail right now. Nobody wants to do this. As somebody who grew up playing sports, I played baseball, and baseball is one of those things where if the ball's hit to you, everybody is looking at you, right? Everybody in the crowd, everybody on your team, everybody on the other team. And so if you mess up, if you fail, you feel that. And that's a fear I had playing sports, and that's a fear that's developed even into my adulthood, but maybe you have a fear of failure as well. And then the last one I think is pretty relevant to all of us. It's just the fear of missing out. It's FOMO. It's that worst fear of, it's a Friday night, Saturday night, and you're scrolling through social media, Snapchat, Instagram, whatever it may be. Instagram. It's a ghost. It's already starting. All right, I'm going to just stand still for the rest of the time, right? It's the fear of missing out. It's the thing that we don't want to see. It's the thing that's hard to kind of see in life when everybody of your friends, every one of your friends just kind of feels like you weren't included. We all want to be included. We all want to be valued. We all want to be loved. And when that happens, that's hard to experience in our life. These are the three most common fears that we can experience in high school. Guys, can we get me a handheld? And I'll just keep talking. Check. Sweet. All right. Okay, no more crackling. Here we go. So these are the three most common fears that we experience in high school. And at one point or another, we're all going to experience this. And here's the thing about fear. The fears that can harm us impact our relationships with somebody else. It can even impact how we view ourselves, and it can impact our relationship with God if that's something that you're interested in. If that's something that you're curious about, if that's something where you're like, man, how does fear even play a role in my relationship with God? The more that we let these fears control us, rather than us control our fear, that's when it tends to be loud in our life, and that's when it tends to kind of make something happen in our life where we're like, man, it just feels like fear is taking control. So I want to talk about what do we do when fear is taking control in our life. And not the fears that maybe we're going to experience tonight at House of Torment or the irrational fears that some of us have, but when it feels like rejection or the fear of rejection is driving us to act different, think different, or even talk different. Right? If the fear of FOMO is making us feel and view ourselves differently, what do we do when fear has control in our life? All throughout the New Testament, what you'll see is you'll see the word fear over and over and over and over again. You'll see people who were afraid. You'll see real life stories that you and I can relate with today. And there's this one moment in the New Testament, in the very first letter, it's the letter of Matthew, where Jesus just performed this incredible miracle. And he decides to let his disciples go out on a boat without him. Right? They were like, hey, fellas, you go on ahead. I'm going to stay back for a second. And the disciples go out on the boat, and here's what happens. There's this massive storm that happens while the disciples are all out on the boat. Kind of like this morning if you were driving in the rain this morning, right? It's this massive storm that they're experiencing. And this isn't just something that's like, oh, man, maybe it'll pass. This is like a life or death moment. Because if it rains hard enough or if the wind is strong enough, then their boat tips over. And so the disciples in this moment, without Jesus, they are terrified. They are afraid. And what happens next is something that's so incredible. And if you grew up in church, maybe you've heard the story, or even if you didn't grow up in church, you probably have heard the story of Jesus walking on water. And that's what happens next, where the disciples, they're terrified, and they see what they think is a ghost. In Scripture, it says, man, they thought they saw a ghost at first, but really it's Jesus. And Peter, one of the closest followers of Jesus, says this in this moment. He says, Lord, if it's you, tell me to come to you on the water. So this massive torrential downpour is happening, and they're nervous and they're terrified. And Peter has the courage in this moment to look at Jesus and say, hey, if it's really you, tell me to come walk on water with you. And this is what Jesus says next. He says, come with me. Come see what trusting me will do. See, what Jesus is doing in this moment is he's extending an invite to Peter to see what trusting him will actually look like in life. And what happens next is so incredible, and it's something that you and I can relate with, because Peter starts to walk on water. Here's what happens next. Let's pull it up there. Peter got down out of the boat, walked on the water, and came towards Jesus. Now, Peter is fully human, right? And he's walking on water just like Jesus. But when he saw the wind, when he saw what was out of his control, when he knew what was out of his control was affecting what he was currently doing, when he saw the wind, he was afraid and beginning to sink, cried out, Lord, save me. See, this is something that you and I experience in life, right? There are thousands of things every single day that you and I have zero control over. You and I have zero control over if somebody decides to reject you or not. You have zero control most of the time when it comes to failing at something or performing or seeming perfect. A lot of times you don't have control if someone includes you or not.
when we go back to those common fears, there's a lot of things that we can't control. But here's what happens, and this is why this story is so incredible. When Peter's eyes were focused on Jesus, he was safe. He was calm. And when he took his eyes off Jesus, that's when fear took over. A lot of times in life, you and I get distracted by the things that we can't control, and those are the things that usually cause stress. Those are the things that usually cause anxiety, loss of sleep at night. But can we really control those things? Peter noticed the outside forces, the things that he can control, and that's when he began to sink. When we start keeping our eyes focused on Jesus in the midst of our fear, what we start to develop is we start to develop something called courage. Now, here's the misconception about courage. Courage is not the absence of fear. So many times in life, we're going to be like, I'm strong, I'm courageous, I'm brave, and I'm not going to fear anything. That's not what courage is. You are going to be afraid of things in life. The fear of rejection might be something that always sticks with you. And that's neither a good nor a bad thing, but when that fear decides to control how our relationships with other people are being formed, if that fear is controlling our day-to-day lives, that's when that becomes an issue. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is this. Courage is not about being scared. It's about trusting God even though you're scared. That's what real courage is. It's about trusting that God is there with you. God is for you and not against you in the midst of your fear. And here's the difference right here. Maybe you've been coming to church for a long time, and maybe you placed your faith in Jesus a long time ago, or maybe you're here for the first time tonight and you're not really sure what to believe. Regardless of where you're at, I think there's a big misconception or there's a big foundational principle that we have to understand so that fear doesn't have to control our life. And it's the difference between believing in God and believing God. Believing in God and believing God. See, for the Christian walk, it might be easier. You might come to the conclusion that I put my full faith and trust in Jesus, that I believe in God. But a lot of times in life, because we are focused on things that we can't control, it's sometimes hard to believe God. Believe what God said. Believe what he's promised. Believe that he really is for you and not against you. Believe that he is a good God, and sometimes in life, things may not go your way and circumstances may not go your way, but God can always turn an outcome for good. See, believing in God is one thing, but believing God is a completely separate thing. So the question I just want you to be thinking about tonight and this week, and I want you guys to come back next week, is what would it look like for you to truly believe God? And how would that change your approach to fear? How can that actually stop fear controlling your life? What would that do for you? Here's a couple scenarios of how changing this approach and believing God's promises for you can actually change fear. The fear of rejection, of not being included or actually being pushed out or rejected by that school or rejected by that person or not included. You know why our fears start to alleviate when we keep our eyes focused on God and we believe what he says? Because God, from the beginning of time, promises us that no matter what happens when we place our faith in Jesus, there is nothing that will ever separate his love from you. That's a promise that he gives you. A promise that he gives you is that he'll never leave you and he'll never forsake you. That's a promise. But sometimes when we aren't experiencing that from other people, it's hard to believe that God is always there, but he is always there. And how would that change what you fear? The fear of failure, the fear of seeming imperfect. See, the amazing thing about God is God has created you and he knows you're imperfect. So whatever smokescreen we're trying to, portray out into the world, or the image that we're trying to project into the world, God knows your heart. And he knows the things that you struggle with. And he knows the things that maybe cause a little bit of stress and a little bit of anxiety. But he is with you every single step of the way. See, we can believe in God, but believing that that promise is true can change everything about what we experience with fear. So whatever you're afraid of, truly, not just the irrational stuff, but the real fears. Is it the fear of rejection, the fear of failure, the fear of not being enough, the fear of missing out, whatever it is, whatever you're afraid of, how can letting God be the one and his promises of you change everything about what you experience with fear? I just want you guys to try that for this week and see what happens with your fear. I don't think they'll be eliminated, but I think they'll be alleviated. That's what I hope for each and every single one of you guys. Let's pray, and then we'll go to small groups. God, we love you, and we trust you. God, we're so thankful for you. We're grateful that you've created us and that you love us enough to meet us in the middle of our fears. God, there's a whole lot of stories in the room. There's a whole lot of things that we're afraid of. So God, would you just make those things more evident to us if they're not already? And Father, would you allow us to invite you into the middle of those fears? Would you allow us to trust you even if it's hard? Would you give us the courage to take a step in your direction? God, we love you and we trust you. It's in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, y'all, we're going to go to small groups. There's a map right up here. I'll see you guys next week.